Hey superhero, Anne Alexson here, and today I'm here to talk to you about why it's not your fault. Why it's not your fault that you can't seem to achieve your goals and find success in life, business, relationships and money, no matter what you do. Perhaps you've been working with tools around manifesting. Perhaps you've been doing all of the self-development, but you're still not able to somehow achieve the goals, the manifestations, and find the success that you're looking for. Before we start, let me introduce myself. For those who don't know me, I'm Anne Alexson. I know I said that at the beginning. I often repeat myself. So I help disempowered and people who have no purpose or feel that they have no purpose to unlock their inner superhero and their own superpowers, and to help them find and live their spiritual purpose so that they can save themselves, others, and perhaps the world without being triggered by their trauma, fears, and belief systems. So that's me in a nutshell. But before I got to where I am now, I was much like you. I was doing all of the law of attraction work, taking all of the courses, hiring multiple $1,000 coaches, trying to find the reason why I could never find success. And then I happened to stumble across it. And you're not going to believe how simple it is, and yet how deep and hard it is to pull yourself out of this. See, here's the thing. When I was feeling disempowered and as though I didn't have purpose, and I could never seem to achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve or live the life that I wanted to live, and I kind of knew that I deserved to live a better life and that I should be achieving my goals, but I could never figure out how to do it. Before I figured it out, I actually almost became homeless twice. Twice because I'm stubborn and it takes me a long time to learn things. So I want to share with you today so that hopefully it will avoid you having that same situation. So I was nearly homeless a couple of times, thank God for my family. So I ended up living back with my mother as a 40-something-year-old woman with a small child. No shame around that. There was, but there is no more. And I started to really ask that question of the universe. Why can't I get my shit together? Why can I not do the things I want to do, achieve the things I want to do, become who I'm here to be? And the fact of the matter is this. You are right now the physical manifestation of so many things, but one of those things that you are is the result of your traumas. You take action. You do everything from the trauma that you are holding inside of you. Now, please, when I speak about trauma, I am speaking of it as being subjective. One man's trauma is another man's treasure, right? Trauma to one person that seems to be something small could be something huge for someone else. So I'm kind of unconditional with trauma. But the fact of the matter is that if you're not achieving what you desire to achieve, and you're doing all of the doing things, then it's an energy problem. And the energy problem is the energy that's inside you that is created by your moments of trauma. Now, subjective. Trauma is subjective. Little or big, it all creates trauma. And every single time in your lifetime that you have been in a situation of trauma or hurt, what you've done is you've created what I call two inner personalities. Every single moment of trauma has created within you two of these energy aspects that we'll call inner personalities. The first one is created through the emotion that you feel in that moment of trauma, and the second one is created around the belief that you decide about yourself, or the thing that you decide it means to you in that moment of trauma. And of course, you're in a moment of trauma, so you're upset, and if you're upset, you're in a negative energy, and so you make a negative decision about yourself. So for instance, let's use an example of one of my clients who, when I was working with her, we realized that this unself-love, this sense that she was not worthy of love, was actually created at a very, very young age, a few months old, when she was in her cot and her mother was outside the door allowing her to, she's doing that thing called controlled crying. So this client of mine was in the cot screaming, crying for her mother, and knowing that her mother was outside the door made it even more traumatic for her. Remember, trauma is subjective in this example. So in that moment of her mother doing this thing called controlled crying, she felt sad. And in that moment of sadness, and as though she was being rejected or not loved by her mother, she made the decision that she was unlovable. And so she's made these two inner personalities, which she's pulled into her energy field, and then she spent her whole life seeking out people who would prove to her that what she believed about herself being unlovable was true. Because we do that, don't we? Whatever we believe, we seek out evidence of it everywhere that we go. So she'd been through many relationships that were just, she never felt loved in any relationship she was in. She was always trying to find love. Even when love was given to her, it just didn't feel enough. And so I'm using that example to say to you that every trauma that you've had in your life has created two energy, inner personalities, which you have pulled into your energy field, and those are what are leading you right now. So all those energy fields of I'm not enough, I can't have what I want, I don't deserve it, and all of those emotions of the way that those things make you feel, so anger, sadness or fear, all of those energetics are bubbling away inside you. And what they're actually doing is they are acting as your vibrational field and bringing to you everything out there in the world and people and circumstances that will help you to believe that they are in fact true. Now, I won't go into all the reasons why those inner personalities want you to believe that they're true. It's simply about trying to keep you safe where you are because they know that it's comfortable where you are, don't want you to step outside your comfort zone. We won't go into that right now, but what I want to say to you is this. In every moment of trauma, you've created two inner personalities that are leading your life. They're created, as I said, through the emotion that you feel in the trauma and the belief that you make up about yourself, or the thing that you decide to believe about yourself in that moment of trauma. And those inner aspects are trying to keep you safe. So you attack them, you try and release them, you try and get rid of them, they're just going to keep holding on tighter and tighter. And so the way to release them, and I'll give you the key now, it's a 3-step process. You stop in any moment that those inner personalities get triggered. So in any moment that you feel the sadness, the anger, or the fear, and start to have those beliefs looping around in your brain that, you know, you're not good enough, I'm this, I'm that, whatever it was that you made up about yourself, in that moment, you need to recognize that you're going into that thing that you do. In fact, you might want to channel Britney Spears and say, oops, I did it again. And then you want to stop, drop, and breathe. And by that I mean you want to sit yourself down, you want to breathe as deeply as you can into your belly, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you're doing that, I want you to just allow yourself to feel the feeling that you're feeling, because it's the feeling that holds the belief in place. And it's because you're not breathing, because in trauma we stop breathing as deeply, that is holding it in place. So that's why it's not your fault that you're not achieving the goals and success that you want to in life, business, relationships, and money. I'm Anne Alexson. If you want help to release these traumas, triggers, and fears and start to achieve the success that you're looking for, you'll come and join me for a SuperSelf session.